Hey everyone, Ahmed here, and I'm currently a third year TU Delft Computer Science and Engineering Bachelor student. And today I'm going to basically be talking about how I actually got into TU Delft, and let's get right into it. So a quick background about me is I was an IB student, so I actually did the DP program in an international school in Turkey. I'm from Turkey, by the way. I was a May 2020 graduate from the DP program, so I did not take the exam due to the COVID pandemic, so I was one of the lucky guys. And the HLs I took were HL Maths, HL Business, HL English B, whereas the SL classes I took were Chemistry, Physics, and Turkish. Yes. In order to apply to TU Delft, you actually need a diploma that TU Delft recognizes. So in my case, since I did the IB, it was perfect because TU Delft actually recognized the IB. However, if, for example, you're applying from a country like Turkey and you did not do the IB, TU Delft does not recognize the high school diploma of the Turkish system, and thus you need to actually do 1 year of university in your country that is equivalent to computer science in that country, and then you can actually apply to TU Delft, which is pretty interesting. So to make sure if your diploma is actually applicable for TU Delft, make sure to go to their website and check from which country you're applying to, and check if it's valid, basically. So that's requirement number 1, your diploma, your high school diploma, basically. Interestingly enough, there is no certain grade requirement other than you passing those. But for example, in IB, I had to take HL Maths to apply to computer science. That was basically mandatory. But it was not mandatory for me to get a 6 or a 7 in HL Maths, because that is how TU Delft works. They have an interesting system that they have designed in getting applicants, which I will talk about in a second as well. So not to flex, but I was predicted a 42. The reason why I'm telling this number is it will actually be useful later in the video when I talk about the intensity of this program. So yeah, and TU Delft doesn't care about your prediction, by the way, or what you're predicted if you're coming from the IB. As long as you get your IB diploma and have taken HL Maths, you should be good to go to apply to TU Delft. So we have your diploma covered now. The second part is you need some sort of English proficiency test. So you can do either IELTS or TOEFL or whatever system you would prefer. You basically need to do this within a year, as far as I know. And after you've done that as well, you should be good to go. The requirements for IELTS and TOEFL are all up their websites, so this should be pretty standard by now. Just check their websites for the best and most accurate information. So once you have your high school diploma and your English proficiency test sorted out, what you need to do is actually go to Studielink. So Studielink is the website in which the Dutch government works on for applying to universities. You need to open a Studielink account, fill in all the information, and apply to TU Delft in this case. And that process should be fairly straightforward. Lots of details on the website as well. Just you go through, fill out your information and all of that, and you should be good to go with that as well. Here is the part where things get interesting. TU Delft has a system called numerus fixus. And what numerus fixus means, at least for computer science, they have a numerus fixus. So what this means is out of whoever many apply, they only accept 500 students. Now, this is fairly standard way of universities doing it, right? They have a certain number of people that they can only accept. However, the way that you are ranked in the numerus fixus is based on an entrance exam called the CST. And this exam consists of 3 parts, at least consisted of 3 parts when I took it. So you have your algorithmic thinking part, you have your reasoning and logic part, and you have your mathematics part. So the percentages and all of that should be linked somewhere around here in the screen right now, showing you how much and what affects it. So basically the reasoning and logic part is the part in which you are tested in your knowledge on this book chapter that they give about reasoning and logic, which is actually a course you will take in the first quarter if you could decide to come to TU Delft. And the questions are fairly straightforward. If you basically study the chapters and do the provided questions, you should basically be fine in that section. And the second part, the algorithmic thinking part, is all about you're using your IQ and solving these puzzles, so you cannot prepare actually for this exam. It just tests how good you are at solving mathematical and logical problems. And the last one, the calculus and the mathematics part, is where you actually use your high school mathematics knowledge to actually do the questions. There is also a fairly straightforward curriculum that is provided to you as well, so you should be fairly fine just studying off of the curriculum and solving as many questions as you can in order to rank the highest. So now, how is the ranking number gotten? So this is how it works. So if you are within the first 500, then you have the right to choose whether you want to attend TU Delft first. So my ranking number was actually 559, and I was not actually within the first 500, so it took me 2 weeks to actually get my position at TU Delft. So the way this works is, let's say I am ranked 100, right? And I decide to choose, I don't know, another university, maybe I decide to study in the US, right? So what would happen is then my rank would be shifted, so this 100 rank would now be shifted to 501. So the 501st person would be able to take my position. And that's how the whole system basically works. And then this is updated every 2 weeks, and by the end, it's estimated by TU Delft, like yearly. What happens is it roughly comes to the 800 rank. So if you're not within the first 800, then you probably don't have a chance of entering TU Delft, unfortunately. So we have talked about the CST and how to prepare a little bit. I gave a very brief overview, but I want to talk about the next very important problem, and that is the housing problem. So the Netherlands is unfortunately having an insane housing crisis, and I cannot tell you how terrible it is. It is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So in order to prevent this, in order to prevent actually getting hit by the housing crisis as much as possible, what you need to do is you actually need to find housing as soon as possible. And the best way to do this is to get into the first 500 rank. Because if you do, you can actually get housing that is done by the TU Delft. So it's called Duo. And what you can do is you can actually register for Duo and pay and get yourself a very nice room in which you share your kitchen with your housemates. And that's basically how you solve the housing problem. But that gets filled up really quickly. So the faster you get it, the easier it will be for you to basically find housing. And if you cannot find Duo, you can come to the student hotel where I currently live right now, or you can find housing from Facebook, but it's very, very annoying. So I highly recommend you to try to get Duo as soon as possible. So now you have your housing sorted, hopefully. What's the next step? Now you need to actually get your visa if you're an international student like I was, and a non-EU student as well. And the process with this is actually as follows. So the TU Delft sends you a bunch of emails regarding the whole procedure. You need to actually book an appointment from the embassy, and then from the embassy of your country, you go there and you give them your passport, and after a couple of days, they will stick the MVV visa for you. And this MVV visa is like a 2-month visa for you to at first come to the country before they actually give you your residence permit. So that's basically why they give you the MVV visa. So once you've also gotten your MVV visa, what happens is you now need to pay your tuition, right? So there is certain tuition deadlines, and in the first year you need to pay around the whole school tuition fee plus the whole costs of actually living in the Netherlands. So I think in our time we paid like 26,000 euros. It was something like that. And you have to do this via bank transfer, which was really annoying and expensive as well to do from Turkey. But they basically give you an IBAN and a SWIFT code number that you will basically find all their details on their website. And you need to send that amount of money before the certain deadline that they set for that year. And once you've done all of that, you are basically all set and ready to go for your adventure in TU Delft. My next video will actually be about all of my experiences in TU Delft, and I will actually give you some tips and tricks on how to survive this very intense university. Spoilers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions regarding this whole process, I will try my best to be of help to you guys. So thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.